Okay, hi everybody. Today I am so excited to have Kendall here. Kate, our active yogi from Sydney, and I probably don't have to say much. You're a very popular yogini, especially here in Australia. We find you everywhere, like not just on social media. You're very present. You were recently presenting on a Mercedes something like in this huge stadium with some top models and athletes. I saw you in the, yes, is that right?
Yes, was this in Bondi?
No, that was in Bondi with that was the other event. You've always on these huge events. That was in the stadium. What was that?
In the stadium.
Oh gosh, I have to get my Instagram out. You're like side by side with these. Oh, you would just forget.
Was in a tennis stadium?
Yes, yeah.
So that was for a brand called We Are Handsome. This
Yes.
activewear brand that I really love. So We Are Handsome are like a swimwear brand.
Yeah.
And they just launched their activewear, and it's beautiful quality, beautiful prints, very bold, very different, really right up my alley. And they got some of us are more kind of active people as opposed to model.
Yeah.
They got myself and Amanda Bisk, who's a former Australian pole vaulter, and they got a sprinter. So they got all these athletes and myself together to run the walkway with some of their models.
Amazing.
So it was a hectic experience. And let me tell you, no amount of yoga can get you prepared for behind the scenes at a fashion show like that.
Wow.
It's stressful.
Yes. Oh, wow. It looked so amazing. I mean, so
fun.
amazing. Yes. And you see sometimes I open the newspaper and I see you there as well. It's one of Australia's national newspapers. You are everywhere pretty much. And you have got your own studio. You run yoga teacher trainings. Tell us more. What are you doing?
So stuff in the Daily Telegraph, that's Body+Soul. So
Yes.
I'm like their, I guess, in magazine yoga expert. They call it guru. I don't really like to use the word guru, but yeah, I kind of work out the strategies for the magazine for Body+Soul yoga strategies. So you'll see me in there every once in a while. I think the next one's on Sunday, 5th of July, so go and get it. And I've got the studio, obviously, Flow Athletic in Paddington. So if anyone's ever in Sydney, come and visit me, come take a class, check the schedule. Yeah. So that's always keeping me really busy. We've got teacher trainings, my Inspired Leaders teacher trainings. Yes. That's also going on. What else? That's pretty much my life. It's yoga teacher trainings. It's a studio with my amazing team there. So good. Really great yogis and athletes.
Yes.
And I write a lot for publications and just try to get the message out there.
Yeah, fantastic. So saying that, you now, you started off as a yoga teacher. Tell us about your journey. How did you get from your decision to do a yoga teacher training to be now, like doing this really broad offerings, all with the connotation of being active and yogic?
Yeah, well, it's a funny one actually. I guess I got into yoga when I wasn't in a great place mentally.
Okay.
And it helped me, I got into it out of vanity thinking, hey, I'm going to get these lean muscles and I'm going to be really toned.
Yes.
And although it did all those things very quickly, my body responded very quickly to it physically, but mentally it was just absolute gold.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, and it obviously just made me feel really good. So I thought, I'm onto something with this yoga thing. So I kept practicing it. I was working in advertising at the time.
Okay.
And I just found myself at one stage being at work, typing away, and all I could think about were yoga teacher trainings and yoga retreats, and it just kind of filled my head. And all I could think about was doing that. I thought, oh, this life of like teaching yoga, yay, it's going to be so blissful, and my whole life changed. And, I guess it did change, but it's not always what people expect as well. Like, let's be real about it. If you want to make a living from it, and if you want to make it your living, you have to be entrepreneurial. You it. And so that's why I started, when I did eventually leave my job and I went to India to do my teacher training, I came back, and because I'd changed careers and I went from having a very constant income to not knowing what was going to come in from week to week, like, you know what it's like, right?
Yes.
So I worked at Lululemon part-time while I built up my classes and my privates and my reputation. So, there was a lot of hustle in there. It wasn't just, hey, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to live this life full of peace and bliss and sun salutes.
And people will just come.
Yesterday I wrote an article for Spotlights, published in the next few days, and it's 5 truths about teaching yoga. I think that for me it's relevant to write that at the moment because we are going through a stage at the moment in the yoga industry where it's kind of the cool thing to do.
Yes.
Like, really, it is becoming this thing, and so I feel like it's kind of my duty, your duty, a lot of us, to be real about what it actually is as well.
Yes.
What's your intention in coming into teaching yoga? Because it's not what some people expect as well. And I don't say that to deter anyone, but just to, like, we live in a different world today, and there are a lot of yoga teachers out there because there are so many different teacher trainings, and that is awesome because everybody has their own voice. I've got my own message to tell my inspired leaders, the people who do my teacher training, and it's going to be very different to, Nicole in yoga. So it's all very relevant, but I like people to kind of ask themselves, why are they doing their teacher training? What's the intention?
Exactly. Yes. And have you now, so when you're saying let's get real about that, what do you think, what would you suggest to get real about for yoga teachers when they just start out or when they start with their yoga teacher training?
Yeah, I think to just know that ultimately what we're doing is we are providing a service, when you think about it, and it is, I believe, a beautiful job to be able to give. Right, to be able to give back to your community, and to remember that when you go into a yoga class, it's not really about you.
Yes.
Everywhere we look at the moment, and I try and be very conscious in my own posts across social media as well. Everywhere we look at the moment, I feel like I scroll through Instagram and there's, beautiful pictures of girls in bikinis on beaches doing back bends, and it's all very enticing. But what's the intention behind that? Are we doing that so that, are we doing that so that we'll be like, hey, look how
bendy I am?
What I'm doing, or is it to be like, hey, this is a really inspiring way of living? What's the message? What's your message basically behind everything?
Yes.
But the truths around, this is a very giving career, and just to remember that it's not about you when you walk into the classroom. It's about the whole class.
Yes.
I guess some of the other things that I wrote in that article, you can read it all when it comes out, but, it is a bit of a hustle. Sometimes you do, in the beginning, have to put yourself out there, and it can get a little taxing physically, unfortunately.
Yes.
So, and I think some people are better at managing that than others. I struggled in the beginning.
Yeah, you have to make your learning, isn't it? What were the maximum classes you taught?
The maximum,
hours,
Probably when I didn't, before I had the studio and I was just kind of running around freelancing, I would probably teach like sort of 18 classes a week.
Yeah, wow.
So I think some people can manage that, but personally I wasn't really great at managing that.
Yes.
I suffered physically from that. What are some of the other truths that that your own practice might suffer from time to time?
Yeah.
That you can be in a very vulnerable position, and unless you're willing to really go with that, and unless you're willing to really allow yourself to be seen, in a teaching space, come from a place that's really pure, you might find that it's just being in that space, and you might find that it doesn't feel authentic to you, and you're more kind of acting and on show.
Yes, yeah. Is sometimes you teach in places also, I shouldn't be here. And then it turns out that it's actually the class you should have dropped, or have it's good sometimes to hang in there, but like sometimes it just doesn't feel right. And when you say, okay, I'll let it go, all of a sudden the doors to other opportunities open up. And it was just a drainer, an energetic drainer. So what is your tip for beginning teachers to build your community?
Okay. I was really lucky. I feel like I had that community of Lululemon behind me as well. So I was working there part-time, and then when I left, because I was getting more and more classes, they were still so supportive. So I say, if you live near a Lululemon, go in and talk to them. You can always run workshops or in community classes, in-store classes. So they're a really great way to get involved in the community. And then also decide, what's your voice? What's your message? Yes. What is it that you want to share with the world? Don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. Just do what's authentic to you, because it's coming from you, and it's just repackaged in your way. And so from that, then, you might start to, we're so lucky these days with social media, where it's very easy to communicate with people. So you can set up, your Facebook page and start conversations on there. Yeah. How else? Just getting around to different studios as well. Yeah. And talking to different teachers, and you never know what kind of avenue and what opportunities and possibilities that brings with it. Yes,
thank you. That's a really good tips.
I think if you do want to teach at a certain studio, it's always good to go and get a feel for those classes.
Yes.
I get so many teachers sort of emailing and calling looking for work, but if you haven't taken any of my classes, you may not even resonate with the way I teach.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah. And it's also always good for the teacher to become part of the family. Then the studio wouldn't even think twice about when they're looking for a teacher. They will straight away know, it's Cindy who's always here, and she's a teacher, so she knows what's going on. She's part of our tribe. I'll get her. Yeah.
It's all about really connecting with people as much as you can. And as well as the social stuff, the personal stuff, getting in there and having conversations. And
Yes.
It's about connection, I think.
Yeah. And so what was your decision to open your own studio? I think it's amazing, like the combination of it's a gym, but it's a very modern functional training gym, isn't it? And yoga. So what was the point where you said, okay, I'll do my own thing?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty lucky that I've been kind of really pushed and nurtured and guided by the other co-founder, Benny.
Okay.
So I was teaching at a place in North Bondi called the Dharmashala. And this is the first place I ever took a yoga class. I remember it so well. And it's the first place that when I eventually taught there, I felt like I'd landed in my dharma. Like, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
And so I was teaching there, and this guy, Ben Lucas, would come to my classes every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. And it turns out he was training for an ultra marathon, and he said to me one day, hey, can we do some privates? So I started going to his house twice a week instead, and we started to form this friendship, and after a while he sort of said to me, hey, why don't you have your own studio? And at this stage, any stage, my excuses were, I'm not ready, I'm not knowledgeable enough, I'm not experienced enough, I don't have the money, all those excuses that you are going to be anyway, right?
Yes.
So then that conversation started, and it happened just as everything does at the right time, because I was on my way over to Vancouver with Lululemon as an ambassador.
Wow.
They invited myself and a girl from Melbourne over there to an ambassador summit in Whistler.
Yeah.
And so for 3 days in this beautiful hotel in beautiful Whistler, they threw all these tools at us for being entrepreneurs in the fitness industry.
Oh.
And one day we had a panel up on stage of, the founder, Chip Wilson, plus their strategy director, and their CEO, and basically we got to ask them a whole bunch of questions about running a business, and the whole experience just really inspired me. And I came back and I said to Ben, I want to do this, but I want to do it with someone who knows what they're doing. And thank God, because otherwise it would just be me running a yoga room the size of my living room. Kind of just snowballed, and the concept became bigger. And, you know, he started to give me personal training sessions, and I found that my yoga was strengthening and really improving as a result of his fitness training, and vice versa. So we're like, well, no one's really doing that. You can go to a gym and you can do yoga, and like, hats off to so many amazing gyms out there. They're so great, but I had never found a gym where you could do a yoga class and maintain that beautiful magic of yoga is what I call it.
Yes.
So having, you know, grew up with my yoga and taught at the Dharmashala in North Bondi, which is quite traditional, I wanted to bring that same beautiful magic into Flow Athletic.
Wow.
So I like to think that we've created that. You know, you call it whatever you want, gym. I generally call it a studio, but I've kind of given up. Like, you know, call it whatever you want. It is what it is.
Yes.
So it's a unique. It is a unique experience, and you know, even it has been unique, and it's been a challenge to kind of at first, because we were the only ones doing that.
Yes. To
communicate that to the community, because people would walk up and be like, "Well, you're not a gym. There's no free weights. It's group fitness." But I think we got there.
Yes. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing, and I think you will have a lot of businesses following your example, because I think even gyms, they all offer yoga, but it seems like detached and not integrated into the whole experience, and more athletes become aware of the benefits of yoga. So that's, I lift my head. So smart, so smart. Oh, that's fantastic. So for the future, what are your plans? What is happening? I mean, as a yoga teacher, you're always growing, and you're always, you're offering your teacher trainings, which probably changed your relationship to yoga as well. What's happening?
Yeah. So upcoming, I've got some more teacher training, an 8-hour art of assist module starting next Thursday night. So it's just 8 hours, just to kind of fine tune your hands-on in-class assist.
Yes.
And then I'm leading some intuitive sequencing a little later on in July. So that's all about helping you to weave together really kind of beautiful magical sequence, or with intention behind it.
Yes.
And then I'm also working on something myself. I guess I won't tell you too much about it.
Okay.
But it's more of a little sort of passion project of mine, and it's been born out of my own mess, if you will, with, even though I'm a yoga teacher and my job is to encourage people to relax and chill out, I'm still practicing that myself. So it's a program designed to keep me honest and accountable for my own health and stillness.
Yes.
And it's something that is designed to help other people who also need reminding as well.
Fantastic. Wow.
That now more than ever we need more stillness in our lives. And even though we read about it and we see it and we're reminded of it every day when we open Pinterest and Instagram, I still think that people are struggling with it.
Yes, it's as you said, we're absorbing it, but we're not living it. We're teaching it even as yoga teacher, momentary, but it's oftentimes that you're then, as an entrepreneur and teacher, very busy, and then finding stillness in that moment is important too. So wow, that would be a great contribution. Fantastic. I can't wait to hear about it. And whatever you come up with, it's always like very inspirational to to see your journey and how you influence our yoga community in a very different way, and how I always think that you're doing your own thing, and I think this is what makes you so exceptional and so inspiring for many. I think that's what many people should listen to. So yeah. Thank you so much for this really, really rich interview. Guys, if you did like this interview, subscribe to the channel and make sure you share that everywhere with your family and friends and all other yoga teachers. Get in touch with Kate. You can find her on her own website. You have a website as well, which is www.
You can go to flowathletic.com.au.
Yes.
For that one. And then my own Facebook page is Active Yogi, and Instagram Active Yogi.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.